Inbox. Good evening and welcome to Conversations with Entrepreneurs. Tonight our panel will start with Chanel.
Good morning. Oh, good afternoon. Sorry. Good afternoon, everybody.
And we got Dion.
Well, I'm a bounce off Chanel. Good night, everybody.
Cut. Take two.
Good afternoon, everyone.
And we have Jeff.
Hey, whatever. Hey, whatever day it is, what time. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, depending on what time you're viewing this.
All of them.
All the above.
And we have Julie.
And I will say Bruina's tortoise.
So as you can see,
Hello,
we're
everybody.
excited about being back on the show again with you guys this week. And we have some hot topics. So we always try to keep the topic as related to COVID because we know so many homes, so many families, and so many businesses are being impacted by this subject matter. And so today we're going to bring you some topics that we found in the headlines. And so we hope you enjoy them. We will appreciate if you want to give us some feedback, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you leave in the comment section for us on Facebook. So Dion, you found a couple of interesting articles today. Would you like to start discussing one of them, and then the rest of us to kind of give our feedback on it as well?
Yes, that'll be great. I want to start with an article that's going to probably segue us into, like the very main topic we were all discussing before we came on. But I was reading an article, and it was talking about how the masks and things of that nature, and even the vaccinations, that they're entertaining legislation, all the way to legislation, where it becomes penalties, fines, jail times, and things of that nature if you don't adhere to the legislation relative to, and they started with vaccines, but masks were included and all that other kind of stuff. If you don't adhere to them, the government may begin to impose penalties and fines and jail times. And it was very, very Big Brother when I read it, and it was almost the reality of what we're living in. Everybody is. I don't want to be redundant and keep hitting and clanging the same glass, but we are not in the same world as we were when this year started. And the effort to return to normalcy, I always talk a lot about mental health. The effort to return to what you call normal could possibly frustrate you and stress you the more because you want it to look like what it did before. And I don't know what percentile I should give it, but even 50.1, Jeff, that's the majority, not 51, 50.1. 50.1 and 49.9, they look a whole lot alike. It may be already determined it will never look like it has again. And so if just think of the ramifications, if something like that would happen, if and it's tied to your job, and it's tied to your livelihood, and it's tied to your even they were even talking about neighborhoods and regions and things of that nature. And even what we're going to talk about later, I know everyone's going to talk about, if it's tied to your schooling and your education and things of that nature, it will be a complete game changer. And it will, it won't be like the flu shot that you can deny or accept at your own volition, right, Julie? And this is not going to be like that. It's going to be like, I've had the very disparaging opportunity to work manually before, my God. And sometimes some of the factories I worked in, they had a thing called mandatory overtime. you know, and forget the labor laws, forget you work 40 hours and you can't work this much in a week and it's against the law. If they call mandatory overtime, everybody works 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, this, that, and the third. This will be this kind of terminology, everyone. It'll be voluntary mandatory. If you do not take it, just foreseeing if it goes through, if you do not take it, it'll be penalties to whatever that may be. And it's so trying for people's minds and hearts to see that their choices, you know, so this means your choices are being taken away, you know. And so, yeah, just a real sobering point of where we are right here in this moment. Now, listen, this is without them even finding a vaccine that's substantial yet, Chanel. You know what I mean? Nobody's found one. You know, I heard a thing about Russia. They said they're gonna put it out anyway. Well, that sounds like Russia, you know. But there's not a for sure definite thing that helps right now that they know for sure. And so, but yeah, they're already entertaining things like this. Yes.
Jeff, I see you nodding a couple of times.
No, I'm just listening and just kind of agreeing, but I don't. What I've seen over the years is some politicians will come up with these outlandish ideas and they never get far. This is going to be one of them. And I say that because it's a virus, and most viruses, they don't have cures for them. And yeah, we have a flu vaccine, but if you notice, the flu comes back every year because there's no cure for the flu. Same thing with the common cold. So I don't know how they can mandate getting a vaccine for a virus that they probably can't never get a cure for. That would just not make sense. To make you have to take this vaccine, but there's no guarantee it's going to work. So I don't see how that's going to get far. And as far as Russia saying they have a cure for it, I don't believe it, just because if you look at any type of virus, AIDS, Ebola, whatever, 9 times out of 10, there is not a cure for it. There's treatments, but there's no cures. And that's another thing that, you know, we need to talk about too. They're not even talking about how to treat it or, you know, lessen your chance of getting stuff. They just jump into vaccine. Well, can you teach us some things we can do to avoid it besides getting a mask? But again, there's no money in that part. It's all in the vaccine and the treatments and stuff like that.
Jeff, that is so what you're saying. The word vaccine means, this is what it does for your mental and your cognitive. Vaccine already means it's not going away. Right. So they're not what they're inferring, suggesting, and doing a lot of propaganda, if I could stretch out and use that word, is to say this is never going away. You know what I mean? So what are you going to do to comply with, you know, even public, you know, and it's public health legislation or things routed through that and things of that nature. So what you're saying, sir, it's exactly on point. That's exactly what they're doing. They're trying to inform us that it's not going away, be whatever the case may be. And so now, how are you going to live with it? Even with the flu vaccine, and they went through all the animals. It was the bird flu, then it was the swine flu, and I mean, it's the bear flu. I mean, it went through all kind of animals, right? So they began that testing regularly. And there are some, like medical personnel, they cannot work without having a flu vaccine, you know? And they cannot do their thing without, you know, they don't have an option if they're going to stay in this field of work. And so, yes, brother, what you're saying is exactly right. Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, I agree about the certain industries. You have to have that vaccine, but I don't think they can mandate it for the entire country. I just don't see that happening. They may try, but I think there's going to be a lot of resistance to that. But I could see for like the medical industry, they may, you know, say you need it or things like that. Some mental health industries, but I can't see them doing it for the entire world, for the entire country. I think they might try, but I don't think we're anywhere near getting one anyway. But sometimes what they do is they'll put stuff in people's head just to, you know, put it out there.
I agree with you, Jeff. I agree with even your statement about Russia, and I'm gonna talk a little bit now, y'all, because I'm gonna get off early. But I agree even with your statement about Russia. I don't think they have really anything. That's a personal opinion. Even all the way to the masks, like you were talking about. One of those other articles I was talking about is like the masks are being used to really institute this biotechnology that they've been introducing very slowly. Like, I have an iPhone and it has, face ID. When it sees my face, it this and other. I heard one of my favorite people in the world talking, Bishop T.D. Jakes. He was saying his iPhone didn't recognize him a certain way because his features are not as Eurocentric as some other Black people's, And listen, it becomes, Jeff, back to, without throwing all this conspiracy stuff out the window, it becomes watching patterns. That's what you were saying last week, Jeff. I cannot tell you how many times I've said that this week to about 25 people. It's watching patterns and knowing that, there is an agenda possibly behind all this stuff. And so to trust yourself and do your best stuff inside yourself and follow your common sense and your what you know to do and things of that nature. Yeah, even all the way to masks.
So, Dion, to your point, and what's sticking out to me is when they talk about these vaccinations. So they kind of tried to do that with smallpox, right? And it kind of sort of worked. But now we're in an era where people are feeling that vaccinations, even for chickenpox, in a month, they don't want their kids to do them because of all the other underlying conditions now that kids are getting from taking those vaccinations. For me, I was vaccinated twice. My mom put me through the vaccination. But when I had to travel with my father in the military, every time we left the country, I had to get all my vaccination shots all over again, right? So, but the thing about policing it, what class of people will be policed more? So you got Sally over here, she don't want her kids to do it. But you got Mary over here, well, I can't afford for my kids to do it. Is she the one going to go to jail? So then you have to start looking at that. We got that same situation with the college. We got the rich people cheated their kids' way to get in college. You got another lady sitting over here, been in jail for 3 years now because she let her kids go to a school in a different district that she didn't live in. And nobody's trying to change her sentence. So how will that be policed? What purpose is it? And again, too, do they even want us to have it? Because they know we're susceptible to it. And then if you're saying you're supposed to get it, is it supposed to be covered by insurance? So you got all these little different things that you're trying to tear apart. So all of a sudden now you're trying to throw in the mix. So you can't have your cake and eat it too, in essence, is what they're trying to do. But I think it's just a perfect formula for chaos. Nobody knows what's coming and going. Everybody's saying anything. And to be honest, from what I've been reading, I'll trust the vaccine that Germany's working on before I trust anybody else, because they started working on theirs last November when the WHO told all of the national leaders, yeah, I said it here, they told all the national leaders last November that this thing was coming, and Germany jumped on it. So I would trust their vaccine first, then I would anybody else. And quite frankly, you talk about the mask, and then we get some masks from Russia, and how we know them things won't work right. I'm just saying, ain't no conspiracy theorists, but
I have to agree with I think Jeff mentioned it, and Dion, you mentioned it as well too. I truly think that this is a hidden agenda behind this. Obviously, it's a tactic to get people in a mental state scare, if you will, and then somebody somewhere is gonna fly in with their cape and try to be the savior of this thing. And my question right now is, after millions and millions and millions of people have lost their life to this, you just now, want to bring something and make it mandatory? I don't think that's going to fly. To your point, Jeff, I really don't think that's going to fly. And to your point, Alethea, it's going to be probably only available to the mid and upper class, those who can probably really afford it. And then the if they do have the vaccinations available to the low poverty areas, it's probably going to be a limited number. And they're going to run out real fast. And so just like with the flu, I've heard that when you get the flu vaccination, you still end up with the flu. How do we know that if you get this thing,
Absolutely,
you still end up with
Julie.
COVID?
Right. I'm not going to pay you to give me the flu. I promise you I'm not going to do that.
No, not going to do that. Not going to do that.
I haven't had a flu shot in honestly about 25 years. I haven't.
Neither have I, Jeff.
And I'm not feeling it because I'm all about strengthening my immune system the natural way. And if you look at the list of things that's in that flu shot, I think it'll like really make you think. A lot of people don't understand what's in some of these things. And I think they're doing more harm than good. That's just my personal opinion. I think the body is designed to fight off many things if we treat the body right. That's my personal opinion. People can do what they want to do, but I'm a researcher. I like to research. I like to do history and study. And my thing is this: I'm a realistic optimist. And you can say you're doing it for my good, but is it really for my good? Is it for your end game? What are you really trying to do? But you put in this package where it's for me, but at the end of the day, is it really for me? Is it for you and your pockets? Because everything always comes back to money. Always comes back to money. Always.
The money's in the medicine, not the cure. The money is always in the medicine and not the cure.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't make money off of people who ain't sick. You ain't sick, they can't make money off of it.
You said something real critical, Jeff, about the aftermath of the vaccine and what it can do, harm your body. Let's take chemotherapy, for example. It's supposed to help kill the cancer cells that may be hidden somewhere. But what folks don't realize is that chemotherapy is really doing harm to your other organs, to your hormones that can last for decades, right? So what's the price that you pay for one or the other?
Chanel?
Yeah, so a couple things. I agree with everyone else. I feel like it's a scare tactic. I cannot see them mandating this type of vaccine. Although the only time I have had a flu shot and it was against my will was I was in the military and it was mandated. And I was the sickest I have ever been in my life. I literally thought I was going to die. And since I have never taken it again. And I also have never had the flu. Knock on wood. But I do the same for my children. I just don't. That's just something that I don't partake in. And I'm very hesitant and skeptical about this, coronavirus or this COVID-19 vaccine. I'm not going to jump on it. I'm very, hesitant about it because it's so new. There's so much more research to be done. So I can't see that they're going to mandate something like this and hope that it is a hoax, because it's going to be, like you said, there are going to be many who don't have access or can't afford it. And then also what implications are there for the damage that it's doing to your bodies. Look at the side effects. Any type of medication you take. It's like, okay, we'll cure heartburn, but you're gonna have diarrhea. You're gonna vomit. You're gonna, the list goes on. You see those commercials? Those are
yes, Chanel.
I'm sorry.
The whole list.
This
You gonna have this, but this gonna happen.
I gotta jump in. My wife and I will sit there, but here comes one of the commercials, and the people are so happy. They having a good old time and walking around and partying. And then they get that list of stuff. I'm like, wait a minute, heart palpitations, liver and kidney failure? What you partying for? The medication is worse than actual what you was needing it for.
It's so true.
Yeah, so
Good
yeah.
point, Chanel.
I mean, come on.
Good point.
I'm sorry.
Make your hair fall out, your lips gonna turn crooked.
You're gonna have stroke.
Look, this is the list of how it goes. It goes like that. That's the list. The list just keep going just like that. Yeah.
Touched on this. some of these medications that help individuals that are experiencing mental health with delusions and hallucinations and anxiety and paranoia and all that other stuff, it's going to cure. But you're going to talk about all types of dysfunction that they may be experiencing, weight gain, weight loss, diabetes. I mean, all this stuff. So it's like you have to, what outweighs what? Do I take this medication to treat this symptom?
It's a triple effect.
Yeah.
It's a triple effect, Chanel, because it's like this will quote unquote cure this, but this really killing this. So you're gonna have to get this medication over here to correct what it killed off, and then you needed this medication over here to. It's a triple effect. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Listen.
I'm with you, Jeff. Let's go back to the juices and berries and grass and grains and all
Yeah,
that.
coming to America, Julie. That's what make your hair grow.
Coming to
Juices and
I tell you
berries.
what,
Right.
I
Listen.
agree with Jeff on that, because when
Go
Tasha
back
called
to
that
nature.
H1, they could not tell me what would make her stop vomiting so profusely the way that she was.
Yeah.
My mother and my father came to visit me, and this was in 2009. My mother told me that remedy that my grandmother had, put on them collard greens over there and let her drink that liquor out of the collard greens. I bet you she stopped. Didn't she? She did. She stopped. She stopped vomiting. Had her drinking the juice from the collard greens, it settled her stomach.
Listen, Chanel
That
and
Tamiflu wasn't
Chanel and
working.
Alethea, this is a true story. I have a gentleman that I work with for years, and he's just chain smoke. So when Chantix came out, they was like, it'll help you stop smoking. So he wanted to try it. One of the side effects is suicidal thoughts. So he immediately went back to smoking. He was like, I'm not going to do that. So the same thing they said was going to kill him, and then the thing they said was going to help him, that's the thing that tried to kill him. He said, smoking saved my life. He said that before he got off my caseload.
Dog, you need to stick down the road. That's funny. That's a
Jeff,
comedy routine right there.
Jeff, that's a true story, bro.
I know. I believe it. I believe it.
Right, Chanel. That's a great. I mean, this is just a great viable point. It's so true.
Even like what you said with chemo.
Like my daddy said, Coke 45 ain't never killed nobody.
Right.
Mama said, no, not until they get behind the wheel of their car.
Yeah.
So it's like.
That's what does it. Yeah.
Like Julie said with chemo, and I don't know, I haven't been in these situations, but I always tell my husband, if anything ever happened, I don't want chemo, I don't want dialysis and all this other stuff, just because, like you said, those things cause more, most likely more or equal pain and, issues with your body than what you're already battling. Let me just take it easy and get through this the best that I can. I've seen it. I had a great aunt that went through chemo. She was in the hospital the entire time. I mean, weak, couldn't keep anything down. And it's like, did we really shave off, months or weeks or years from her life? And what was that like? Was it hospital down? And was it miserable that entire time? I don't know. I can go on and on.
Well, I will say, and I'm gonna jump in with that, because as a survivor, as some of you know, I am a survivor, and going through that, it's been 15 years for me since my diagnosis, and I did go through the chemotherapy, the radiation, the whole nine yards. But each individual case is different, because it depends on how far along it is, and how it may have metastasized or it spread somewhere else, throughout the body. So those are the factors that have to be, taken into consideration for chemotherapy. Does it save lives? Does it help prolong your life? I can say, yeah, I'm 15 years survivor, yeah. But somebody else, they may say no. But like I said, the effects from it, even years after it, is just as detrimental than it was when you go through it. I really wasn't. I was sick when I went through it, but I wasn't as sick as some people, because it depends on the strength of it as well too. But yeah, you just got to take all of that into consideration, and each person have to evaluate where they are, and how far along whatever that disease have may have gotten into the body or whatever. So it's a up and down, up and down, up and down. So individual case by case.
Hey,
Yeah,
Dion,
I
you
know
got to
my,
jump off.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump off,
yeah.
y'all. And look, I'm gonna talk to y'all in the after show, and so I'll call y'all in a little bit. All right,
Take care, man.
all right, man. Y'all
See you
too.
later.
All right, peace.
Yeah, my girlfriend Angie, she's a 2 times breast cancer survivor, and watching her go through it. And when I first moved here, my first friend that I met, her name was Rosalind. I met her the first week that I started working in Charlotte. And when I met her, she was the spitting image of a cousin who had just passed away. So it was like seeing a ghost come through the door. I had to do a triple take when she came through. But after a few months working there, she found out she had breast cancer. And so it was just different just watching her. Like, we was always with her because she didn't really have a lot of family here. So me, my dad, my sister, and Tasi, we was always trying to do things with her to keep her, spirits lifted and everything. But to see how it was tearing her, apart. Like, I knew Angie had it before, but I wasn't really around Angie as much when she was going through it. So to see Rosalind go through it, but she's a survivor. She made it through, but just watching what it did to her body, even down to her nails, like what it was doing to her nails, like it was just so interesting. But I kept trying to go to the Avon store and get her nice little wig baskets and, little things from people from the office to keep her spirits lifted. But you do see them. My stepfather went through it, and he said he would rather die than have to go through chemotherapy. So a lot of people were affected by that a little differently. So, but it is a choice. I told Tati at the end of the day, I don't want to be a vegetable, meaning I'm all she got, she's all I got, right? But I don't want to be a burden on her towards the end. So if something happens with me and I'm that sick, my mind is like, just let me go. I don't want to be that type of burden on her. So she don't agree with it. So y'all see me still sitting here because Tati propped me up. So, but it is a choice. It really is a choice.
Yeah.
And the idea of government trying to force us into something like that, I don't. I think I think this probably would be the only country that it did happen to yet that it would happen in, because all the other countries seem to have gotten a hold on it. You need to go to New Zealand. She has things, working there. Other countries. The UK, they're doing good. They don't have all of the restrictions and stuff that we have. So we're just in a state.
So I wanted to, if I could jump in real quick, going back to the article that Dion shared with us. There was a piece that I was just reading, and I'll read it. And its quote says, that means the United States could have a patchwork of different vaccine requirements in different states. States that explore a vaccine requirement should only do so if the vaccine is widely and readily available. Why would you make it a requirement if it's not available? Why would they have to make that decision if it's going to be a requirement? Make sure it's available. Am I crazy here?
Which furthermore details that it's not going to happen. I don't see how. How do you make that happen? And I also want to say I saw, and I kind of just, skimmed through it, something about the penalties would be like a tax penalty or something like that, is how they would determine if you didn't take it, then there would be some type of tax penalty against it. Kind of like how what they do, I don't know if you guys noticed with the Obamacare or the Affordable Care, if you haven't had coverage at the end of the year, if you're not covered either through your employer or through some type of Obamacare or Affordable Care Act coverage, you're penalized, or you have been. I don't think they've been doing that lately, but you're penalized for not having some type of health coverage. So I don't know if that's, a way that they're going to try to implement it.
But they took away that penalty. That was one of the things they was able to dismantle with the Affordable Care Act. Which here's the thing that, and I don't know for the clarity, that did not come with the original Affordable Care Act package. When the Republicans was trying so hard to fight Obama for it, and they pushed it to the Supreme Court decided that that penalty should be there. So they try to make it seem as though Obama put that penalty. No, the Republicans ended up getting that penalty up there because they was fighting it so much. And so that they pulled it away. But, you know, the Affordable Care Act, I think, was great. To me, it was important for it to be there. As a parent, being able to cover my daughter until she was 26, as sick as she was, you know, that was a lifesaver for me. Because when I was on unemployment, even though my primary care side, I should have qualified for Medicaid for her because she was under 18, that lady at Medicaid would not give it to me. She's like, well, she just needs to not worry about college and go get a job. No, she don't. No, she don't. She's going to college. If you're not going to help me get a well, I find somebody's going to help me get a well, but she's going to college. You know, but I'm like, but why did you just pick me? You know, are you telling other mothers that? You know, so, but the Affordable Care Act, to me, I think it was great. But when the Republicans nitpicked at it and had companies pulling out of it, that kind of forced the prices to kind of go up on it. I mean, I tried to apply for it, and they pull your IRS filings. And so when I tried to file for it, they said, now the money you make, you can afford to pay $1,200 for insurance a month. And so that I didn't get to enjoy any of the whatever discounted rates that they said that they had, because they felt that for me, even though I had one child, with the money that I made, $1,200 a month towards health insurance was affordable to them per my income. So, but you know, I've seen people that make more money and they managed to get it. So I don't know how that worked. But I think as being self-employed, being entrepreneurs, that's another issue that we have as far as being able to just keep healthcare for ourselves, you know, while we're pursuing owning our own businesses. I don't know if anyone has been able to find, I've looked at Affleck, but have any of you guys thought about that? And, you know, as far as making sure that you're covered as we are entrepreneurs trying to branch out? Jeff's shaking his head, but is he thinking? Jeff typing.
On it.
No, I'm not typing. I was fortunate because my wife still works and I was on hers, but it's very expensive. I can tell you that. It's not easy getting health care. And I think that's one reason why so many people are hesitant to go out on their own, because of the health care. Yep. But yeah, it's a major, major, major problem.
Yeah. I think I'm going to take it upon myself to get better at research, and maybe somewhere down the line we'll be able to have some options for people, because at this date and time, we all need some type of coverage. You know, even when
I think that'll be a good resource. I think that'll be a good resource to have if there's information or a listing of healthcare companies that are affordable for entrepreneurs would be good. Would be good to have.
Now,
I wanted to ask.
No,
go ahead.
Yeah.
I just said 401k as well. That's another, you know, resource that we typically, you know, don't have. Well, I'm not gonna say don't have access to. We typically don't focus on investing for retirement as a small business owner. Mm-hmm. One, it's not as affordable, or two, we don't have the extra to put aside for that. But it's important. You know, it's something definitely that we should focus on. So I think that's something else we can include as a resource.
Yeah, and see, Jeff would be good for that, because I would like to hear Jeff's opinion on our accounts. I know you can take so much and you put in it, but I definitely would like to see if that's a resource, because I think you can start on our account with at least $500. Jeff, is that right? Did I read it right? Am I remembering what I read right?
I think with some you can, like if it's with like a specific fund company, you can set up a monthly payment where you can start with a lot lower than that. But I think you can't put all your focus on just that retirement account. You want to make sure you have money coming in even after you retire too. I think that's a big problem that people have. They say, I'm saving for retirement and I hope to live off my retirement savings. I think that's a huge mistake, because what if you run out of retirement money? Then what? I think the key, even for entrepreneurs and everybody, is have your retirement account here, but still have money coming in over here. So if you don't want to touch your IRA, you don't have to, because the last thing you want to do is keep dipping into savings. I think that's where there's a major disconnect with people. You want to keep money coming in even after you retire and you're not working, and that's something that a lot of people don't really think about. So yes, have your IRA, but you want to get to the point where you have it, but at the same time, you don't have to touch it because you still have money coming in. And that's a major disconnect, or something that's not really taught as far as, money and financial issues that I've learned over the years. That you want to just keep money coming in, period. In addition to having that IRA. If you can get to a point you don't have to touch it, and you still got money coming in. I'm not talking about Social Security, nothing like that. I'm talking about from your businesses or some type of passive income. That's huge, but that's something that we're not taught. So I just want to make sure people know that IRA is not the end all be all. It's good to have, but you want to make sure you still got money coming in so you can maintain your standard of living that you have now.
Yeah. And last year, temp assignment I had for a company, we learned about variable life insurance policies where you actually get to pick, kind of like a 401k plan too. And I thought that was pretty interesting too. And I also found that some of those life insurance policies, when you do that, you can add on the long-term care. You can add on a little different things that kind of help you once you get a little older. So I found that to be interesting. And I also found too that some of those life insurance policies, you can actually take a loan out on those policies. And the life insurance company loans for $10,000 or $15,000 is cheaper than going to the bank. So if there are all these different resources of ways that people can secure themselves, that knowledge just is not shared, around the table with us.
I'm glad you kind of said that, because if you think about it, we'll use COVID for an example. COVID can wipe out your life savings and your retirement account in a week. So yeah, you got that retirement savings you saved your whole life for it, and in 2 weeks you get COVID, you're in the hospital, and boom, it's all gone. So like you say, the long-term care, life insurance, all that it all ties together, but it's not talked about. So yeah, if you still have money coming in and you get sick, it's okay. I mean, it's not okay, but you still got money coming in. Even if you lay on a hospital bed, you still got money coming in every month from someplace. That's huge. Instead of just dipping into your IRA to pay off your medical bills. And again, that's something that's just not taught. We're taught save for your retirement and then go home and knit, whatever, or watch TV and live happily ever after. But no, you don't want to live off your savings. You want to keep money coming in. And again, that's not talked about. And people don't talk about living, I don't know how we got here, but living in old folks' homes, but that costs money. Nursing homes, all that costs money. And people don't realize that you cannot try to keep living off your savings. You want to keep money coming in. And that's something we need to just think about as business owners.
I think just in general, I mean, especially with life insurance, I'm glad that was brought up, because that was my thought. As business owners, once again, that's another expense that we need to consider. We need to think about it. I mean, anything can happen, and how is your legacy going to live on? How is your family going to survive and maintain after you're gone? And we don't talk about it. I'm tired of seeing GoFundMe and fish fries, every time. But it's real. We have to plan for it's gonna happen. It's like the funeral industry is not going out of business no time soon at the rate things are going. So we have to be proactive and think these type of things through. So I think that's a topic, period, just finances, what that looks like for everyday people, but especially for entrepreneurs.
I'll give you an example of my mother. She was in a facility where she passed, actually, and because she didn't have I think the life insurance and all that kind of stuff to kind of take care of her burial, luckily at the facility where she was, they created a trust fund in her name, because I think there's only like so much amount that you can keep in a savings or something other. And once it gets to a certain amount, it has to go over here into another account. And so fortunately, because I was, at the time she was living, her power of attorney was able to make sure that that happened, so that when she did pass away, there was money available to take care of her expenses. Had that not happened, we all individually would have had to contribute, which we still did, but it helped, And so, yes, we need to talk about that and taking care of loved ones in that manner to make sure that they have what they need. All of us, not loved ones, all of us, because knock on wood, any of us could get hit by a bus or whatever, and whatever. We just need to make sure that our loved ones who are left behind have what things are in place so that things can be taken care of. And so I just wanted to give that example of, when you don't prepare, it leaves a big burden on the family, big time.
Hey,
Let me say,
Julie, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's like a good segue too. So I'm going to add this, the flip side to what Julie just said. When my dad passed away, I wasn't prepared for it, but when he passed away, my dad kept saying, I got everything taken care of. My dad's been saying that my whole life. I got everything taken care of. And most times he always did. But when he said it this time, when my father passed away, he did. I didn't have to do anything. In fact, when I went to the funeral home guy said, oh, you're the baby girl, right? Your daddy said, and when his time comes, you were going to be the one to come here. He already took care of it. He already, I go to my mom's gravesite, he had already put his headstone next to her. All I had to do was put the year that he passed away. He knew, well, I was my father's only child, so he prepared everything. So I didn't have to do anything. All I had to do was just call people, and they, oh yeah, you the baby girl. Yeah, your father put on his paperwork. When something happened to me, my baby girl gonna call and take care of it. So he took care of it.
Let me put a caveat. I'm the youngest of 7. So in case my brothers and sisters are listening, yeah, we all came together to make sure that the service, I don't want nobody saying, oh, she did everything. No, it was all of us had to come together to make sure that my mom and her services was taken care of. So it was a family effort. And shameless plug for AARP, they have a program, at least they did have a program, I think they still do, it's called Prepare to Care, which is 5 major steps, I believe, that teaches loved ones and families how to prepare to take care of your loved ones. So I'll do some research. That might be a resource or a link, Alethea, that we could share and put somewhere so that folks, anybody's interested, they can go to it.
Yeah, ARP does a lot of stuff, and I have to add to Julie, ARP, and you guys know I got an article from them one time too, but since the COVID, they've been doing a lot of Zooms to inform people what they should be looking at now, things about the medical, all the other stuff. So I get emails from them daily. They got 3 different types. You got the ARP for grown folks, you got the ARP for sisters, and then you got the regular ARP. So I have embraced my ARP phase in my life. So I happily get my ARP emails on a regular basis, but they have tremendous amount of information out there to keep people informed. And you ain't got to wait until you get your red card. You can start looking into it now, and they'll still get sending you information. So, yeah.
I think that's great. Those are great resources to have in place. When you have someone that's close to you and that you may be caring for, that's elderly, and in that time maybe getting close, to the end. It's not the case for everybody. I had a client whose husband, they're in their late 40s, early 50s. He went in for a minor, operation and died on the table. They had 2, high school age daughters, completely unexpected. Their life was shattered in that very moment. Luckily, he had things in place, but you got to think that was a 2-income household that is now 1. So, what if Jeff, she was on his insurance because she couldn't afford her own. Now that puts her in a whole different, situation. So sometimes that's not the case when we have time to plan and prepare, because we kind of know the end may be near. But bottom line is we all, one day, our day is going to come, whether you're 22 or 82. And I think now, especially young people, we have to have, plans in place for the what if or the when.
And as we see with COVID, you don't have to be, it's wiping out the young, the old. It sees no age, race, or color. And so, you got to be prepared, period. And I think this is a great reminder to folks, to really, we hoping that this message will get out to everybody. Prepare for, for the future, for your family, to make sure that they're, well taken care of. So.
As my grandma said, tomorrow is never promised. It's a blessing when you wake up.
I wanted to ask a question of Jeff and Chanel, because I think you guys have, ladies and gentlemen, have school-age children. So with COVID issues that's going on, what are you hearing about as far as schools and going back to school and teachers and stuff like that, as far as COVID impacting the schools, the return of school?
So in our district, they have given us so in our state, the governor has there were 3 options. Option A was complete everybody back in person in school. Option B is a combination of in person and remote. And option C was complete. The governor said that we're going to do plan B, but he left it up to the school districts to determine what that looked like for their area. So my specific district chose the children would go back 2 days a week, and then the 3 days remote, or you can do completely remote. So for us, we chose completely remote. We have seen firsthand the impacts of this virus. So we chose complete remote for our children, which sounds good, but it's challenging. It's hard to sit down, and I have 2 school-age children. My youngest was supposed to start pre-K this year. So I have 3 school-age children that not only do I have to assist, day in and day out, but I'm still trying to work and run a business. And so it's going to be very difficult. I have a lot of anxiety. We start back on Monday. So I don't know what that's going to look like, as far as scheduling and, what type of commitment. When things shut down back in March, everybody was thrown off. So it was like, oh my gosh, do homeschool and, do this worksheet and, do this activity, take a picture and send it out. It was really not structured, in my opinion. So I'm hoping that it's a little bit more structured. But then also, I really think about children who don't have access. We got Wi-Fi, we got iPads, but a lot of people don't. And I think Dion mentioned this, that his church was turning into a hotspot, a Wi-Fi hotspot for children in their community. There are so many children that don't have devices, don't have access to Wi-Fi, don't have a safe home. I think somebody posted today, like children that are in homeless shelters. What are they supposed to do? What is virtual learning for them? So here in me and my little worries about, what is my life going to look like when homeschool starts next week? But it's really more critical. It's way deeper than that. So it's challenging. It's going to be a rough school year.
And nobody's really talking about that part either. But Jeff, your comment on the back to school?
Yeah, I son staying home. He's staying home. There's no way he's going back. My first thought is we all have seen how this COVID is affecting primarily older people and people with weak immune systems. That's the primary. But God forbid it starts affecting kids, at the same rates. This thing is still fluid. It's still changing. And I don't know why people haven't even considered that thought. Why haven't you even considered that? It's ridiculous to me. So no, he's staying home. My wife works. Some days she works in the office. Some days she works, at home. But I work at home all the time. So I'm going to be here. He's getting a computer from school. We're going to get one of theirs. And the teacher's supposed to be in the classroom, like you guys were saying. And he's going to be sitting in front of the computer. And he's going to be downstairs. I'm going to be a little further away doing my work on my computer, kind of having an ear out to see what's going on with him. But yeah, it's I'm not really comfortable with how this is going to work. I don't think it's going to work. He's supposed to sit in front of the computer all day. I just don't see it happening, to be honest with you. So my mind is already on plan B, that I'm going to be basically trying to work with him throughout the day and then take a nap when school is over and then be up to 2 in the morning doing my own work. Just like we had to do last year at the end of the year. I'm already mentally prepared for that possibility, and I'm not exactly looking forward to it. But again, my issues compared to some others is nothing. I only got one. Chanel, you got 3. What about the people who don't have access to computers, who aren't in a stable home where they can sit down and actually work and focus? So I'm not happy with any of this. And I want to say real quick something. I want to jump in about the insurance, the life insurance and all that. When I was an advisor, we would see people open accounts for 200,000, 250,000, 300,000. And we were like, how in the world are they getting this money? It was life insurance. So, you know, life insurance can set up a family for generations, and people just we're not taught that. I'm like, how in the world does this 24-year-old open up an account for $350,000 life insurance? Something we got to think about. But yeah, this COVID and this school thing is a mess, and we're just going to take it one day at a time. That's all we can do, because I just don't. It's not going to work. They already got people quarantined, schools quarantining. It's not going to work. I give it 2 weeks. I give it 2 weeks, and everybody's going to be home. And I don't know if you guys saw how they canceled football for a lot of colleges. So it's not going to work. They can try, but it's not going to work. I just don't want to see kids get sick at the rates that, you know, some other people are getting sick, because that would be devastating. It's not really affecting kids like it is older people.
Wow. Yeah, because I think they're having that problem in Georgia now. Then they have like some 80-something thousand kids now that are impacted with it. I think it was Georgia. I see so many news articles go through the Facebook.
Yeah, I've seen so many. Kids getting quarantined and they can't come back for 2 weeks. And yeah, I've seen like one student infected like 90 people or something. You see all these different stories, and it's like, yeah, it's just a blur at this point. But the fact is, it's not going to work. They can try, but it ain't going to work. It's not going to work.
But here's the thing. No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and then what if the teacher gets sick? So the teacher's going to be out for 2 weeks. So then what? So now who's going to come in and teach these kids? So we already got a teacher shortage. It's not going to work.
Now, one teacher said the folks who still work remotely while she was in quarantine. You going to say, Julie? Yep, that's what she said.
Wow. Well, 2 things you guys said. The one that hit me like a ton of bricks is, Chanel, what you said about the kids who are homeless and don't have access. That made my brain just explode. What resources do they have? I mean, that's another topic for another day, but it's like that made my heart drop when you said those words. And then, you know, when you both talk about your children, the other thing that came in my mind was with the smaller kids, let's say, you know, kindergarten to 5th grade or whatever, they may get the COVID or whatever. How are you able to know? How are they able to communicate to their parents what's going on? Because they could have COVID, but you know, you don't know, and the longer they have it, the worse it probably will get. So I think it's just so many factors of opening those doors to have kids to go back into an open environment like that, because kids can get it from each other. You know, kids can't stay away from each other, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean,
they see no color, they see no age or anything. They just play and want to connect, and so it's just so much. It's too much.
They had a doctor on CNN that said the same thing Julie just said. Is the doctor was like, kids are the biggest spreader of the flu. COVID is like a flu. So if you put these kids in an environment, what do you think is going to happen? They're the biggest spreader of the flu. When most people get sick, it's because kids came home. with the flu.
Yep.
Oh, ain't that the truth? That's right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not even the flu. It's the stomach bug. It's the pink eye. It's whatever. Somebody,
Everything.
they just pass it around
Head lice.
to each child.
Ooh.
Cootie catchers.
It's true, but it's
Cootie
true.
catchers.
It's
The cootie
Yeah.
catchers.
Ringworms.
everything.
Mhm.
That's true. It's true though. That's what kids do. So that's what I'm saying. What I mean to cut you off, Chanel, but my mind is just thinking, what if it starts to affect kids the way it affects older people? Why are people not
Yeah.
thinking about that and just trying to be preventive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
And
'cause they
some
had a
kids are
real
not
trend
able
up in-
to communicate it, to communicate
Exactly.
how they're feeling effectively. To, you know, they may say that, you know, I have a stomach bug or whatever, but I'm hearing that the stomach bug is a symptom of COVID, and I'm like, really? So now, because I got tears running down my eyes, that's another symptom of COVID as well too. It's something all the time. I'm not, you know, making make light of it, but how can they clearly communicate what is happening to them, to their parents? And it's just, my brain is about to explode right now.
Yeah, because it's too fluid. Because each person can have their own separate symptoms. That's the thing that's
Yeah.
frustrating. So that's why I'm just like, it's not contained in the least bit at all. And you still want to just carry on life like everything's okay. It's not okay.
Yeah,
We don't
it's
have
not.
we don't have an effective treatment. We don't have a cure. We don't know still don't know exactly how it's transmitted. We know it's just in the air. That's all we know. And I just don't
Yeah.
understand why people aren't really thinking more realistically about this.
And Jeff, I want to pity pat off of you for a second because I saw something yesterday and I said told myself that I wanted to speak on it on the show so that it can reach people. So there's a post that's going around on Facebook or whatever, and it's telling people if you wear your face mask, the face mask is going to make you catch the Legionnaire's disease. And so now that's supposed to be the theory behind people not wanting to wear masks because they're going to catch this Legionnaire's disease. The CDC, because I went to the website because they said it. When I saw it, I'm not going to share something and, you know, but I like to correct people when I see it, especially if somebody in my family. Did you look this up? So the CDC and the WHO said that was a fake case. No one is caught Legionnaires by wearing any type of face mask. What they have said is that some of the homemade face masks, if you continue to wear them and don't wash them, then you're inhaling whatever bacteria that face mask may have caught while you was out and about. So if you're going to continue to use cloth face masks as opposed to the surgical ones, then they're saying, just like they're saying, wash your hands, you wash your clothes, wash your face mask. You know, even if you're rinsing it out in the sink at nighttime, then it's clean and ready for your next trip out the door. So I wanted to put that out too, because that's been some of the hysteria as well behind the face mask. And it looks like it just worked on Jeff's nerves because he got his finger on his temple. So I'm waiting to see what he's going to say.
Well, maybe if
There you go.
wear your mask in the car, these people who drive with their mask on and they're in the car alone, or the people who
Yep.
Mhm.
are in a room alone with a mask on, you could take it off. It's okay.
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
this,
That's what I was going to bring up too, Chanel. Like, if you're by yourself, and they did say if you're the longer you wear it and you're in the car, the worse it can be. Take it off because you at least got to breathe at some point. And to your point, Alethea, yeah, you got to wash it. You wash everything else. Wash your mask.
That's why I have my hand on my head. Do you wear the same socks every day? Do you just wear same dirty, dingy socks every day? I mean, oh God, it's a
I
family
gotta
show.
clean my glasses when they get dirty. So
Right. So you're gonna just keep on the same funky mask that you've been breathing in. You can smell how bad your breath is. But you want to put it right back on your face and be like, oh, I don't feel good. Well,
you gotta
that's
build
why.
up.
Soap, water, wash, rinse, dry. That's all. That's common sense. That's why they're like this.
And and put that Gain dryer sheet in it, and it'll smell fresh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow, amazing.
It is.
Truly amazing.
But going back to the schools, like I said, in our district, a lot of schools nearby, like CMS in Cabarrus County, are strictly remote, which I think is great. I think that is the smartest decision you can make, although it's going to cause challenges for many, unfortunately, but it's the safest thing for the children and the teachers. I can imagine being a teacher. I have a friend that's a teacher, and luckily she's in a school district that's completely remote. But if I was forced to go in, so I'm putting myself at risk, around other teachers, around other students. And I just don't think that that's very smart, especially for this age range. I know they have some colleges going back, and, they even have adults going to these restaurants and bars now, and they're still spreading it as adults. So can you imagine what children who, are hands in mouth, all objects in mouth? I mean, it's just gonna spread. I want to say I read an article today that the confirmed cases in children have increased 40% in 2 weeks in July alone, bringing the cases up to, I want to say 340,000. If I'm not mistaken, I'll have to check that data, but that just goes to show, as these camps and, in-person classes and sports and all this stuff is just opening back up, when things are just spreading and going to continue to spread, especially among children.
And that's
Have
my
y'all
point.
watched?
Go ahead,
sorry.
Julie. Go ahead.
No, it's totally off topic. Go ahead, Jeff.
No, I was going to say, yeah, the kids are getting it. I think a lot of them are asymptomatic from what I can see. And I just keep coming back to, okay, what if something happens where this virus mutates and then it starts to attack these kids? I just don't understand why people aren't thinking that. From what I can see, a lot of people, they think, okay, this is how it is, and it's just going to stay like this. It doesn't affect me, only affects this certain demographic. It can change. Why don't people think ahead and prepare? This is why I wear my mask. This is why I take apple cider vinegar every morning. This is why I take Vaccine every night. I don't know what's going on out here. I ain't trying to find out. I'm trying to be one step ahead of this mess. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on, and I'm trying to avoid it at all costs. And that's why my son's staying home.
Yeah.
Now, he does Taekwondo virtually. I don't know if y'all saw that pictures on Facebook where he went and got his yellow belt. That's the first time he's been to that dojo in like 8 months, because he's been doing Taekwondo on Zoom. He's staying home. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Nope.
So I'm glad you brought that up. And Julie, I'm going to give Chanel a second, and then I'm going to come back to you. Because correct me if I'm wrong, and y'all know I'm getting old, and I've got about 10 things rolling through my head on a daily basis. But I remember last week, Chanel had found an article, right? And it was the daughter. And Chanel, you want to talk to that? Because I don't think we got a chance to talk to that last week. And I think this topic right now is really a good time to bring it up.
Sure, absolutely. Real quick, though, I wanted to just mention that a caveat to this, I'm all for virtual learning, but I'm also not a teacher. So one child left behind or no child left behind, somebody's gonna be left behind if y'all depend on me to get them put up the school year. My 5th grader, she's independent, very brilliant. So I can set her up on a computer, she can do her own thing. But my 1st grader, Lord have mercy, he is not gonna sit still in front of a computer, and be engaged during this lesson. So those are other challenges that, come in place when we're talking about virtual learning. It's going to be very difficult for children as well. But going to that article, Alethea, it was about a mother-daughter. The mother was, I guess, elderly. She was at home, had not been out the entire pandemic. The daughter was staying at home for the most part, but had to run out for work or to do errands. But she was trying to be very cautious to, wash hands, take off clothes, disinfect and everything. But this one particular time, she came in from outside and mom was like, "Oh, baby, come home, come give me a kiss, or come, give me a hug." And she did. And maybe 2 weeks later, mom was dead. She contracted the virus, she got ill and passed away, unfortunately. And the daughter carries that burden. She said, it's my fault. If I wouldn't have went out, or if I, would have come home and taken the other precautions that I did, she would not have been sick and died. So that goes to show, even with children, there are many children that have parents that are older, or that have grandparents that live in multi-generational homes that have, or raised by grandparents, and can come home and once again spread the virus in their households or in their, local family as well. So I think that's a risk that we're taking with opening schools and sending children back to school. Gary.
And Julie, you wanted to say?
I don't even remember what I was going to say now. Oh, yes, I do. I'm sorry. It was totally off topic. It has to do with COVID, but with the, I don't know if you guys have seen the NBA have started back playing. But I think due to COVID, have you guys seen how they set up the games? It's so weird because when they're playing live, obviously, but I guess I don't know if it's a virtual background or whatever, but it looks like the crowd is there, but they're not there. It's the funniest thing ever. I don't know why that came across my head, but it's, just to try to put some humor into it. The NBA is, I ain't gonna say they faking it with the crowd, but
It's helping my sanity.
check out a game.
It's helping my sanity because I've been going crazy. I need something to divert my attention. Yeah, so I'm loving it.
Yeah.
But think about the risk of putting ourselves out. I know football season is about to start, and you've had a lot of players like, I'm gonna sit there because I don't want to chance it. Think about back in the spring when this all kind of started, and the basketball players, all these basketball players started testing positive. So I don't know. You have to. Is it worth it? To risk yourself and your family. But once again, it's your livelihood. If I don't play, I don't get paid.
But they're in a bubble, so that helps them a lot. NBA is in a bubble. The other sports, not so much. Like with baseball, they have had whole teams come down with COVID, and they had to cancel games. I don't know how that's going to work. And I'm on the record. I don't think football season is going to last. I just don't know how it's going to work unless they put them all in like one state and just quarantine that whole state or city or whatever, and just had all the football teams there. But I just don't see how it's going to work. It's too many variables. I just don't see how football season is going to play out this year. I just don't see it.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting.
But watch that live game and y'all see the simulation of people in the stands.
I want to know how they get the people. Where they get the pictures of the people from? Are they from like old games or something?
It must be. I'm not really sure, but it kind of looks like a virtual background, if you will, of people actually sitting in the stands. But then I also love how they did the players. The players, they expanded the area where the players sit as well too, because normally they sit in one row. Well, they literally have them 6 feet apart in a big square. So that was very encouraging and good to see that they're doing that for the players.
But how was it? They're still coming in close.
But they still running into each other on the court. But I did hear that I did hear, or did I read it, that they all of the players are tested, right? Prior to or whatever. And of course, they're checking temperatures and all of that good stuff. So.
Yeah, and they can't leave the bubble. They've been in a bubble for about a month now. If you come in the bubble, they test you, then you quarantine for like 2 weeks before you can even be around other people.
Okay.
So that helps a lot.
Yeah, that's what Tyler Perry's doing. That's what Tyler Perry's doing. So 2 things I want to bounce off of. One, the basketball players in the stadiums where you talk about the virtual seating. I wanted to kind of give a shout out to people who are stepping up in different ways. So, of course, this is an election year, right? Got a pandemic. You have all of these false propaganda things about mail-in voting. So one of the basketball teams in Atlanta donated their stadium to the Board of Elections so people can actually come into the stadium and vote. So you just sit in your seat and wait your turn, and that will take away some of them long lines that they experience through through the elections. So I thought that was kind of cool. I wanted to bounce off of what you guys were talking about with the basketball stadium. And
well, before you move off of that election, are you all getting information or text messages from people that are saying that a ballot or something is being mailed out to you, and can they count on you to mail your vote back? Have you guys gotten anything like that?
I haven't, but my mom.
Did she? Okay.
Yeah.
I did, but it wasn't from many Democrats. I'm getting text messages and emails from a party I've never voted for, and that's disconcerting me. I don't like it. Don't like it at all.
I don't either. I don't either. I'm like, first of all, how you get my number? So.
Yeah,
I get stuff. I'm obviously, you guys are, in a different state, but I get stuff. I don't know, some random stuff about, hey, let me see. I'm looking at one now. It says you received a vote by mail ballot that hasn't been turned in. At this point, we recommend turning in your ballot in person to your local supervisory elections office or at your early voting location. Will you commit to doing this today? Is that what you're talking about? Something like that?
It is. Yeah. Mine reads, Hi, Juliana. You will soon receive a vote by mail application. Return postage has been paid. Ballots are mailed starting 9/4. Will you return the application?
Very similar. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This person was Amelia, and it came from an 813 number. Oh, it's the Florida for All Coalition and Win Justice. So I don't know what's going on. But yeah, I'm getting them too.
Yeah.
I get them every day, actually.
Wow.
Every day.
Just beware. Be aware.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't gotten any of those text messages or anything, but I do get the emails and stuff. So I put a post out there on Facebook today. If you are going to do the mail-in voting, there are places where you can drop it off. So people to look into that. I try to post providing links so people can find their links so they can know when the early voting is going to start and so forth, and stuff like that. So last time for the last election, they had the primaries, and so some of the precincts that are open, they don't even let people know they're open. You just ride by and look, when did they put that one there? It's like, well, there's no cars there. Let me go in and vote. So, so it's try to look out for that in your area, because this year is just going to be very interesting. I am hoping that Charlotte will not be like Atlanta was, with all of those poll stations closed and those monstrous lines. I've stood in lines before, but when you're talking hours, like hours, I think that's a bit too much. I think on one post I put up there, where if you got to take a folding chair and a bag of the pens, then that's what you got to do. But go and get your vote on this year. Yeah, I said it. I don't know if anybody responded, because a lot of times I comment and I don't check to see who's responded. I'll get such and such reply to your comment. Let's keep on replying. Okay, that's just my comment. It's like, to me, it just depends on what you feel you want to do to make a difference in the election. Whether we agree or vote for the same person or not, I think it's important for all of us to have knowledge on how we can make sure that we submit our vote. No matter who you're voting for, just so that we know these are the different ways that you can make sure you get your vote and have your voice in our elections. Jeff?
I don't have anything to add to that. Just get out and vote.
I agree. So we've had a really good topic tonight. So anybody got any last words that you want to share today? We want to start. Let's start with Chanel. Chanel doesn't get to go first too many times.
One thing I would just say to recap the night is, I think we talked a lot about planning. I think it's so important to plan, to have a plan in place, especially for the future, and then the unknown. I know sometimes we don't want to think about it, we don't want to talk about it, but it's reality. So just to stay smart, be healthy, and have a plan in place.
Mhm.
Julie?
Well, as always, just want to ask everyone to stay healthy, be empowered, be resilient, but most of all, wash your mask.
I'm expecting something real inspirational. You know, you be all uplifting. You remember to say, wash your damn mask. That's what you wanted to say. I say it for you. Wash your damn mask. Nasty heifers. Wash your mask. I say it for you. Walk around with that old nasty mask. Come on, I don't feel good. I wonder why.
Oh my God.
Don't take
Oh
Stevie
my
Wonder to
God.
see why you sick. I'm sorry, Julie. Go ahead.
Julie.
No, I'm good.
Here's the one thing I'm thankful for, that Dion had to get off early today, because this will be a long goodbye. You talk about today will be a long goodbye.
Oh,
And
my
on that
goodness.
note, I agree with Jeff. I agree with Julie. Let's all take care of ourselves. Make sure you wash your mask, you change your mask, ride around with a can of Lysol and spray that mug or something. Just make sure that you find some kind of way to eliminate the germs of today. And take care of yourselves, and we'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much for joining. Bye-bye.
Bye.